How's it going, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Trailmakers Creations. In this episode, we're going to start with the Battleship Quatro. Not too bad of a looking of a battleship. It's got a decent shape to it. You can see underneath we actually have a boat shape, nice and aerodynamic. Now this is called a Quatro because it is armed with 4 different weapon systems. I don't know if you can see them all. We have our main cannons on the front, which are activated with left shift. They are on suspension as well, so we get a nice little kickback action there on those. Our arrow keys will actually rotate those. We can lift them up and down. So we got decent machine guns out the front. And when we don't need our machine guns, we have, if we have any land-based enemies, we got 2 different speeds. Number 1 is cruising speed. It's just a nice get you where you're going, no rush. Number 1 will toggle that. Number 2 is your maximum speed. M as in Mary will angle your mortar cannons in the back here, these 4 cannons, and N as in Nancy will fire them. It'll toggle them. Burst of 4, pow pow pow. So if you got any land enemies, you can take them out. Boom boom boom, no problem. No problemo. And we'll angle those back. So number 1, cruising speed. WASD for our steering. Or just A and D, I guess. Number 2 is maximum speed. That'll get us up to about 50k. Now, our second 2 sets of weapon systems. We don't have anything really to fire on. Let's spawn in another one of these to fire upon, shall we? So if we saw enemy ship, well, we managed to sneak up on them and see if we can nail them with some torpedoes. Y and T, or T and Y, will fire our torpedoes left and right side. We can fire them individually, or we can hit both and fire them both. So we'll try and do a lot of damage here. We'll fire both. They drop. And then we'll try and keep up, see what kind of damage they do. If we can get contact. Boom! Plus big bang, and that was that boat we hit with 1. Let's see what kind of damage we did. Wow, blew out the whole side of it. It's not too bad for 1 torpedo. But the boat stayed afloat, so at least that's a good test of the strength of the boat anyways. Our final weapon is our proximity mines, which we have 6 of on the back. So when we start moving, we can hit Q. And you'll see that those will drop out in a timed sequence. They have sensors on them, so within a 5-meter proximity, those will detonate the dynamite that's connected to them. So as you can see, it makes a line. So if there's anybody following you or chasing you, you can just drop those things and they'll either stop or they'll have to turn. You can release them while you're turning as well. So if someone's sitting still, you can make a circle around them. As you can see, they detonate, not necessarily when you're right on them, but when you're close to them. So as long as the sensor sees it, it gives a blast like that. And then that's usually enough to give somebody a warning of, hey man, you're not supposed to be here. And depending on how well your craft is built, it will blow holes in it. But they actually work pretty good. Sensor facing either direction, so it doesn't really matter which way you come at it. Boom! Best camera view for this too is probably above the seat cam as well. Top of the seat like this. That way you can operate your machine guns. See which way they're firing as well. Actual first person cam doesn't work that great. You're right behind the machine guns. So that is the Battleship Quatro. I'll be uploading that to the shop if you want to check it out. Let's take a look at our next build, shall we? So this build is called the Karnivore with a K. It is an off-road, as you can see, heavy-duty suspension in there. It's a new design I was working on. It's got a cool layout on the body. All the engines and stuff are down here underneath all this stuff to keep my center of gravity nice and low. The frame itself is on suspension as well. So it's got even more suspension, get a little bit of lean to it, a little bit of realistic monster truck action. It's actually pretty good for jumping. Suspension works pretty well. It's got some thrusters in the back here, a couple in the bed of the truck as well. Keep it somewhat level while it's flying through the air. Ooh. Big crunch. Yeah, it's kind of got the flame job on there. The wheel wells laid nice and lifted. Got that monster truck feel. I can almost use bigger wheels on it. Got the old roll cage in the back there with the lights. Open gate, tailgate in the back. It's not super duper fast, but fairly realistic movement as far as... Ooh, what was that? Probably thrusters, right? Oh yeah, all the thrusters on the bottom, right? Gandhi. It's got quite a bit of bounce, lots of travel in the bounce. And it's pretty heavy. And again, because of all the engines down low there. So that's why it doesn't go quite as fast as I'd like it to. But to scale, it's actually pretty good. You know, 100 kilometers an hour in a monster truck. It's pretty good. So yeah, that was a fun build. Again, working on playing with suspension. Trying to find something that'll work real well for stuff like this. We can jump and not lose wheels. Yay! Yeah, Karnivore with a K. Off-road 4x4 pickup. That'll be on the shop as well. So our next build, what we're going to look at, we're going to leave the Karnivore sitting right here. Right out here in the open. You sit right there. Oh, hey, let me out of here. Okay, now hopefully that stays there. So we're going to come back here. We're going to load in our next build. So this is the Scream Bomber. This is a propeller-driven aircraft. It's a bomber, really stable to fly. It's got automatic landing gear that'll fold up once we get in the air. You can see here that we've got our props, our small props in here, and a couple behind the wings as well. Now, the Scream Bombs, this thing carries 26 Scream Bombs, and they're called Scream Bombs because they have sirens on them. So when you drop them, you'll start hearing them whistle out a high-pitched tone from each of them. So as their bombs are dropping, you'll hear this high-pitched whining falling from the sky, which I imagine would be pretty freaky in most situations. Our controls for this sucker is right back here on the back wing. There's nothing on the front wings. It's all in the back. Our rotation, our roll, our pitch, everything is here. And you can see we got a couple of small propellers on that back wing as well. That gives us a little more downforce for the front end. And super easy to fly. All you got to do is hit spacebar, and it will literally start lifting itself off the ground, but without me even doing anything. We'll just pull back on the stick a bit here. We'll watch the gear fold up under the wings. As you can see, nice and stable. Our wingtips will actually angle up, and the wingtips in the back angle down as soon as we hit spacebar, and they'll stay locked like that for stability. So we're going to swing this around, and we're going to attempt a carpet bomb with some Scream Bombs on the Karnivore. So this thing will fly pretty level once you get her nice and level and in line. Get up to about here, and we'll say bombs away, left shift. Oh, and we missed. That's a lot of bombs. Okay, so we're going to swing around. Landing this thing is real easy as well. It's got so much lift, and it's compared to the weight of it. So we're just going to come back down here and land in the field and do a repair. We're going to rearm. Where's that truck going, man? It's moving around on its own. So we can just totally turn off the power and just coast in like a glider. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. The gear comes out. So smooth. Repair. And away we go. You stay right there, Mr. Truck. We'll be back to pay you a visit. You won't be so happy about it this time. I like the way it actually sounds like an old prop bomber. So he's hiding on the other side of the hill. Maybe we come around so I can see him. So yeah, the bombs are just made out of a stick of dynamite, an XOR gate, and a couple of sirens connected to a detachable block. And of course they're just set on a delay so that they detach one at a time, starting from the back. Hey, don't overdo it now. Don't overdo it. Left shift. Oh, yeah. Ha, 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 ha. Got you this time, buddy. I told you. You're not going to like it. Okay, let's go see how much damage we did over here. You can hear all the sirens, all the scream bombs. I think I see a problem with the truck, buddy. So yeah, that's a Scream Bomber. I will upload that to the shop as well. Again, that was actually a pretty simple design. Pretty straightforward. Flies really well. And we got noisy bombs. Noisy bombs are always good bombs. Scary bombs. Alright, let's go to our final build. The Sky Spider. So some of you may have seen the GIF that I posted on the community tab page on my channel. If you haven't, you can check that out. It's just a GIF of this flying in the air. It actually looks like a spider. So this is actually a really simple build. This was a test of trying to build, and it's an ornithopter too on top of that, right? No power cores. So it's just using the small hinges. And on the wingtips, we can see that we have a small hinge that goes up and down. And the next hinge on the outside of it goes backwards and forwards. Now the outside hinge is set on the delay so that the first one lifts up and then the second one starts moving back as the first one is coming down. So that kind of gives you a little bit of that forward propulsion with the wing. Pulls you forward a bit. Now this thing is a super slow-mo flyer. I don't think I've ever seen anything fly this slow. But it's just, again, proof of concept. We have the same thing on the inside here, and then on the outside a double set of wings. And it's just spacebar. That's it. We have a little bit of control here with the front of the body. I can angle it up a little bit just to get a little bit of lift. And I can also angle the nose down a bit so we can get a little bit more speed going forward. So as you can see, the wings lift, and then the tips of the wings kind of fold back a bit. And they're just offset so that they, one set, the next set, the next set, the next set. And they're timed so that all four of them, or all eight, repeat in the same pattern so that we get the same equal lift on all of them. So again, I can angle the nose, the front end down here if we want to go down. We can pick up a little bit of speed, or we can angle it up a little bit to get a little bit of lift. But again, if you go angle it up too much, it'll just end up going backwards. Doesn't have that much forward propulsion because of the speed. Obviously, you can see how slow it's flying. But we do have steering. We can turn left. We want to keep the nose down when we're steering as well, because the steering is just set to weaken one side of the front wings to turn in the opposite direction. So you kind of want to keep your nose down while you're turning. Again, no servos or anything, but it actually works pretty well for the steering. And then we can fly forward this way. Imagine if you put an aquatic seat on this. I'm not sure how it would swim underwater, or if you swapped out the wings maybe for the big fins, the big water fins, if that would actually move enough water to swim, or if it would just keep you on the surface and you wouldn't move anyways, too much drag from the water. But yeah, I automatically saw this and went, well, that just looks like a big spider in the sky. And I've tried adding extra length on the legs to make big spider legs, but as soon as it starts trying to fly, it just smashes them off on the ground. I was like, okay, well, we'll just stick with this then. This is plenty. It looks like a spider to me, and it's working. It's a zero core, a spider ornithopter flyer. It's a very strange thing to see in the air. It's the scariest thing, to be honest, huh? So I'll be putting that on the shop as well, or you can try and build one yourself. download this, take a look at the timing on the hinges, and then build one yourself. See if you can build one maybe bigger, a great big one. The only problem with that is that these small hinges can only handle so much weight, right? So they start getting really weird if there's too much weight on them. You try moving them, they just collide and crash and smash, and oh, there's a little bit of contact. But again, always try and take things to the extreme to see what's possible and what's not possible. Alrighty, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to hit subscribe, hit that like button, leave a comment. And if you enjoyed this, check out some of this end screen content here, and we will see you in the next one. Ciao.